Nervous.
These look familiar to you?
Yep.
So here's your picture.
This is my grandpa.
My mom and stepdad, they met at their job. They're both in the Army. I believe they met at a Christmas party. Every year, the Army has a Army ball. And so is my mom and my stepdad. My mom was all dressed up, fancy, and my stepdad was in his formal Army uniform. And they went to the ball together as a couple. It was really, really cute.
Any stories?
No, he doesn't really like to talk about it.
This is my great-grandpa and his brother. It was when they were doing some boxing and he broke his hand, but he still finished the fight.
My grandma's dad, actually, he was in the Army.
I think it's like hard because, you know, there's a lot going around the world that we don't know. There's still a lot of wars going on. So like a lot of veterans don't like to talk about it.
My stepdad has two little kids, now 7 and 6. Back in 2015, a few years ago, when his children were really small, he, along with my mom, went to Qatar for a deployment.
He broke his hand in a fight that they were doing where they were stationed, and he finished the fight, and this picture's with his brother.
I believe somebody threw a grenade and it blew him back, so he got injured by that.
And when he came back, his kids were small enough, they didn't remember who he was.
He died when my dad was about 10.
And then he was in the hospital recovering for about 2 years. Then he just died.
His little boy and little girl had to re-meet their dad, and I was with him through that, and I saw just how hard it hit him that his children didn't know who he was.
I have a lot more respect for veterans than I think I would if my dad or my family didn't serve in the Army, and it makes me more grateful for what I have.
This is my grandpa Bill. He died before I got to know him, but I've heard a lot of great stories about him. I've heard that he was pretty cool. A lot of his friends liked him, but the best part about him, he got to jump out of planes every day. Pretty cool.
Have you ever jumped out of a plane?
Nope.
Are you ever going to?
Nope.
My dad and my uncle, they didn't know each other until they served in Iraq together, and they've been best friends ever since for like 20 years. After they came home from Iraq, there was a party to like welcome them home, and my mom was invited, and they met each other, and then they got married a year later. He's my uncle now.
I've heard a lot of great stories about him. Like one of them was like he got his medal stolen. He was on the ship coming home, and they each had their own bag, and the bags looked a lot alike. So someone apparently grabbed his, and he grabbed someone else's, and he looked in it, and his medals were there. Like the presidential medal, that was in there. There's a few other ones, but we got them back.
My dad told me about him surviving out in the jungle with like a knife, and he was like, he didn't know where the enemies were, you know? So it was like a little scary.
That's my grandpa. He's in the military, and I think he's a commander now.
He served in the U.S. Army.
He was the first sergeant, and he served in a war, Afghanistan. This one was my grandma's mom, actually. I think she was a commanding officer.
And then after he got out of Navy, and then he went to like the Army, and then now he's like the colonel.
That's me.
That's you?
That's me.
That's awesome.
It's my papa at his retirement ceremony. He was in the USAF, the U.S. Air Force, and he served for 20 years. He guarded like the airplanes and like the missiles.
So my mom first went on a deployment when I was 4 years old to Iraq. She was there for 9 months in the middle of the war zone, like on a base that was in the center of everything. Lucky for me, she came back safely, no scratches, and she went on a second deployment in 2015 to a place called Qatar, which is just north of Saudi Arabia, and she was there for 9 months. 2 pictures, actually. Ah, yes, here they are. Favorite pictures. So there's this one. So in this picture, it is taken right in front of the bus that she and her fellow soldiers got on to go to the airport before they went to Saudi Arabia. This is about 6 in the morning, up at a place called Fort Douglas near the U. We got to spend a little time together before my grandma had to take me back, and this was about 5 minutes before she got on the bus. So this is like our last goodbye for 9 months. So, yeah.
Was that hard?
That was really, really hard. And I was 9, and so this was her second, but the previous deployment, I was too young to remember. So this was like the one that was really hitting me hard. So, yeah.
My dad serves in the military, and we have to move every 3 years. So because of his job, so he recruits people to join the army, and he just helps people serve, and he does a lot of good for our freedom so that we can be free.
Here you can see both my mom and I crying. I know it was really hard for my mom because she had to leave me.
I feel proud of saying like he's my grandpa, because like he's amazing at what he's doing right now.
As we have veterans, we don't really appreciate them as much because we don't really think of it. It's not like a big holiday, Veterans Day, but we do need to think more about that.
Having veterans in my family has made me want to like join the military and to become a better person.
I'm proud to say that I'm a military family.
I think having veterans in my family has definitely made me look at the world a little different.
I'm really grateful for the freedom we have in our country.
Because they fought for freedom, so if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have freedom, and we wouldn't be the world that we are today.
But freedom pretty much means like you get to pick what job you want to go into. You get to go to college. You still have to pay for college, but you can go to college. You can get any job you want. You can have a house. You can have a car.
Veterans sacrifice a lot for our freedom as a country.
Helping us to live in a better world.
It makes me grateful for the things we have, because some people don't have the things like other people do. So it gives me like a lot of respect, and it makes me grateful for it.
I'm grateful to veterans because they serve for our freedom and they fight for our country.
Some of them give their lives to freedom, like they died for what the world is today.
Thank you, veterans.
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 Happy Veterans Day.